All right, everyone, welcome back to another Beefcast production. I am your casting host, Beef. Joining me today is going to be DC30. How you doing today, Wendell?
I am excellent here.
Great. Glad to hear it. We are actually going to be going into the first game today of the Clan Buzz Open number 1. A round of 16 brought to you by Clan Buzz, a European clan. And we're going right into here on our first game here on Daybreak. A random versus Zerg that ends up being a Terran versus Zerg. Let's go ahead and get the players introduced. Up in the top right hand corner, we do have the purple Zerg. His name is Zwirwel. And why don't you go ahead and introduce our Terran player here, Wendell?
Down here we have Disco, also known as Slogan, I believe, from the UK, playing as the purple Terran.
All right. And so what do you know about these players? Do you know anything about them in specific? What their leagues look like? Anything like that?
I think I play with them on peak mode a few times, and I think that they range, I believe it's the gold to platinum level. As this tournament's basically gold platinum level. So I think Disco is gold, and I believe Zwirwel is in the platinum gold. I'm not exactly sure
All right.
on their teams and leagues.
Cool. All right. So one of the first things that's actually striking me right now is that our Zerg player is actually going to be going for a 15 hatch before spawning pool. It's a little bit more of a risky build, more economically open, but it does leave you vulnerable to a little bit more pressure from something like a 2-Rax. But with the early drone scout on 10 supplies, Zwirwel is actually able to get in there and see that there is nothing funky like that going on. Rax and supply depot both going to be built here in the main, but there is no gas yet taken, so there could be the pressure of up to 1 proxy Rax out there if everything was going to plan. But that hatchery is on the way, following up with the spawning pool on 16 supply. So Zwirwel's actually in a pretty comfortable position right now. We'll see where Disco chooses to go from here.
It looks like this would definitely be standard. Never mind. I see 2 racks going down, so it could be definitely 2 racks push.
Yeah, and that second drone is actually going to be able to get over there and scout that second Rax before it does die. So very nice job from our Zerg player, making sure to see that that is coming. SCV makes its way into the main base. Oh. I'm actually getting a lot of feedback from you right now, Wendell.
Sorry about that. I was trying something, my bad.
Not a problem. So SCV did actually make its way into the main base over here for the Zerg player and was able to scout the early gas. That is not something standard that you see from every Zerg player right now. The current beta game is a little bit more oriented towards a fast 3-hatch. But with this being Gold League, there are certainly some strategies that don't make its way into professional play. Right now, the Zerg player has put a total of 3 workers onto his gas, so quickly going to be making his way up to the 100 gas where he can start either Lair Tech or Zergling speed. A third barracks coming down now for our Terran player. Neither of these other 2 barracks do have add-ons, as gas has just started production for our Terran player. Maybe one of these Marines will finish up and a reactor or a couple of tech labs could be starting. But what do you think that is going to be coming out of Disco here? Have you seen this kind of build before?
To me, it just looks like it's going to be early Marine pressure, no low gas, just to build towards the middle game. That, from what I'm a Terran player myself. I normally don't go with this build, so we know it's not an all-in type of 3 racks play, even though it is 3 racks. But sure. I think it's just going to be just pressure with Marines, but not too aggressive type of build.
Yeah, I could agree with that right now. As there are a total of 8 Marines on the field currently for Disco. He could be moving out here pretty much any second. One Zergling going to be making its way into the natural, trying to scout for any kind of command center. But luckily for Disco, the command center is still going to be on the high ground, so the Zerg could be thinking that the Terran is on 1 base still. Makes the Zerg a little bit more wary. 1 Spine Coral already down at the front. Total of 3 Queens out currently for the Zerg player. Speed.
Yeah, I think that's good to hide your CC like that. I guess your Zerg is going to be anticipating, as you just saw all these Zerglings pop out.
Yeah, with the Zerg not seeing that command center on the low ground, he needed to make a swath of Zerglings there. Speed is going to be finishing up for them very quickly here, but they're going to be very exceptional defensive units with that one spine crawler and the extra queen. Decent creep spread coming out from our Zerg player right now, so he's going to be able to hold off any kind of marine aggression without stim for the time being, most certainly. Factory now coming down for our Terran player along with a second gas. I'd like to see him move that orbital command down into the natural and get mining down there, possibly even taking up to his fourth gases so that he can start tech. A Zerg player has actually made a Baneling nest and is now starting to morph about 8 Banelings. So with that, the Zerg player is going to have the opportunity to put some aggression on his own. Zerglings and Banelings possibly looking like they're going to move their way across the map right now, maybe looking like there's going to be some kind of a bust. The Terran player does not have a wall down at the front of his base currently, so he looks pretty susceptible to that, especially with him moving out with his orbital command right now. So we'll see if the Terran player is able to spot this. 2 Marines do hold the Zelnaga tower closer to the Terran base, so they're going to be able to see this large incoming force of Zerglings. And the Zerglings going to be making their way into the hidden area next to the Zelnaga tower, take out both those Marines, and the Terran player is now vision dead on the map, probably in a very scary situation.
This is not looking good for the Terran player. I'm not seeing any stem. Here we go. It does look like he may be spotting something. Yes, he does see the aggression, and he's reacting, but it may be too late as the Banelings are swinging around the right side.
This number of Zerglings and Banelings shouldn't be able to deal with that number of Marines, especially if those 3 bunkers get up. The only way that those Banelings are going to be extremely effective is if there is some kind of a very nice surround using those Zerglings, but that number of Marines, even unupgraded, should be able to deal with the Banelings pretty effectively. Now, what I don't want to see is him moving out with these Marines right now, which is actually what he looks like he's going to be doing. A couple of these Banelings are going to be coming in from the bottom side here, and the Zerglings going to be making their way over, and look at those absolutely gorgeous Baneling hits. The Marines all fall, and that is actually absolutely terrible for our Terran player right now, as Zwirwel actually gets some incredible detonations, taking a 3rd base behind this. Our Zerg player is now in a pretty commanding situation as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, he's ahead in SCVs, drones, just lost his army, so going for his 3rd. It's looking pretty nasty.
Up to a total of 60 drones right now for our Zerg player. He's looking absolutely fantastic, sitting on an extremely large bank. Lair Tech has finished up now. Double Evolution Chamber going to be plopping down, as well as Infestation Pit. This is completely standard play, a little bit slower than you might normally see, but with a very strong lead in the army right now, just because of all those Marines that were lost. It looks like the Zerg is content to sit back, macro up, try to get a decent amount of drones down to his 3rd. Nice drone transfer, making sure that that is almost completely mineral saturated by the time that that base gets directly up. Once he takes those 6 gases, he can be starting his 1-1 upgrades for his melee units here. Pathogen glands will be on the way as soon as that Infestation Pit is done, I would expect, but a Spire comes down. So this is a little bit strange play by our Zerg player here. Spire after Infestation Pit, not your typical move. Baneling speed is going to be starting right now, so he looks to continue his aggression with the Banelings, and he might actually just be going into Mutiling Baneling. The Infestation Pit might have just been kind of a ruse, but at the same time, 3 Infestors are going to start without Pathogen Gland upgrades. So maybe that's some kind of a build that Zwirwel has worked in here, deciding that Pathogen Glands is not worth it at this point. No, he's going to start it right afterwards, so maybe just a little bit of a slip up.
Yeah, our Terran, well, he doesn't have enough economy right now, but it's kind of hard on this map when you're behind and you know you're playing a Zerg player. You gotta catch up because the Zerg is gonna swarm you out. So it's kind of hard securing that 3rd unless you throw down a PF and put some pressure. If I was in the Terran position, I'd maybe do a few drops, which it looks like he's trying to do now, but just protect that front and maybe expand while he's dropping.
Yeah, loading up 2 medevacs right here. That's going to be 8 Marines and 2 tanks. Tank drops, not something that we see too frequently right now. Scan going down on the Zerg main, trying to detect any kind of static defenses. Doesn't see any, so those medevacs are going to be making their way up into the Zerg base here in about 45 seconds. we'll make sure to keep an eye on those. Infestors are out on the field now, and even without that pathogen glands upgrades, they do have enough energy for a couple fungals right now, but it doesn't look like they're going to be in position to defend the drop. Hive Tech on the way with that infestation pit. That could definitely be what the infestation pit was for, was just to get that Hive Tech up so that he can morph into a greater spire right now. But Medevac sitting up here at the top of the map, going to be looking to come into the Zerg base right now. First spot by the Overlord is done. The tanks are going to be dropping out, and I would expect them to siege up right here on this mineral line very fast. The tanks are starting to siege up, and these drones are under a lot of pressure right now. Zwirwel is not reacting. The tanks are going to be able to get a few big shots off on those drones in a total of... Thing does not work. That's what you get for hotkeys. But right now, the Marines and the tanks are going to be putting a lot of pressure onto the Hive. The Marines going to be backing up. Zergling's going to be coming in here onto the tanks right now, and one tank does fall. A nice fungal going to be going out onto the rest of those Marines. The fungal going to be taking the medevacs in addition to infested Terran, and both those medevacs are going to fall with the assistance of Mutalisk. However, the Zerg player did go ahead and show Mutalisk with that push.
Yes, he did, and if you look at this creep spread, it's looking like some herpes going on this map here. It's spreading pretty rapidly, but the Terran's still sitting on 2 bases. He has a lot of units. He could do some damage, but it's not looking good for Terran right now. He hasn't even took his 3rd yet, so, and it's at the 16-minute mark.
Yeah, the Terran player opting to stay on just 2 bases right now. The main base is going to be mined out very quickly here. That's one of the things that happens with Terran. When you're using a lot of mules on your main, you mine that out very, very quickly. But nice job from Disco right now. Going to be throwing up turrets all over his base. Look at every single one of these turrets right now. There's a total of about 12 of them between the main and the natural. Back in the Zerg base, he does manage to take his 4th, the positional base, here in the middle of the map. Only 1 gas and 6 mineral patches. That is something different here on TSL 4 Daybreak. That is different from the latter version of Daybreak. With the Greater Spire completing right now, and no Corruptors making their way onto the field just yet. Actually 11 in production now. The Zerg player is going to be ramping up for a pretty large attack that I don't think that the Terran player is going to be able to deal with properly unless he manages to get a 3rd base up and start some Viking production.
Yeah, it's just looking pretty grim for the Terran player. It's at least 1,000 to 4,000 minerals. So Zerg is definitely floating some minerals right now.
Yeah, Zerg playing a bit of what we would call a Sauron Zerg, just making sure to expand all over the place. Make sure that you have your map control all over the place. Zerglings and Banelings going to be looking to possibly set up a little bit of an encounter here. But as the siege tanks do siege up, the Zerglings and Banelings will be walking away. But the Terran player looking to move out right now. 0-0 tanks and 0-0 Marines going to be going up against 2-2 Zerglings and the possibility of Broodlords. Corruptors have not been morphed into Broodlords quite yet, but right now it's looking like there's just an absolute ton of infestors. And they're going to be moving out right now. Mutalisk, Corruptors, Zerglings, Banelings, and 8 Infestors going to be going up against this Terran army. And we'll see if the Zerg is able to pull out the engagement that he needs, or if the Terran's going to be able to make a very nice stand. Siege tank to be unsieged right now, and the Zerg player is going to be coming in and catching everything on siege. Beautiful Fungal's going to be coming down across all of the bio. Fungal's going to be hitting the medevacs to clean up everything that they need there, and Zerglings and Banelings are going to be able to take out all of that force. The Corruptors are going to be cleaning up the medevacs, and I would say that the Terran player is in extremely dire straits right now. Zerglings and Banelings going to be coming up onto the last line of defenses. Both of the bunkers will fall. One siege tank going to be coming out trying to defend, but it will fall to the Zerg swarm as well. Infested Terran going to be walking down on the high ground, and the Terran player Disco does call GG. Oh.
GG.
What a game. What a game. So very nice job by Zwirwel right there, taking the first game in this best of 3 series against Disco. Disco being the head admin and creator of this tournament. It's going to be sad to see him go out in the first round here. Let's see if he can pick it back up in game 2.
Yeah, he just needs to remember to expand. You're playing Zerg. I mean, you need to pressure the Zerg in the early game, or else he's just going to drone up and, what did you say, this Sauron?
He's going to be a Sauron Zerg, expanding everywhere, see everything. Exactly.
That's Terran's biggest fear, is Zerg expanding like that.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us for this Beefcast. I have been Beef. Joining me was DC30. Thank you very much, Wendell, and we will catch you back here for the second game in the series.
Thank you.